We gather in the cosmos bright. Stars and ships take flight tonight. In the void where dreams do play. Soul citizens lead the way. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Starry roads and endless skies. Soul citizens we rise. Charting courses never lost. Together the verses crossed. Squadrons call on the horizon. Battles fought, our hearts aren't frightened. In our ships we face the dawn. Soul citizens carry on. Oh, planets spin and light years fly. Boundless space where hopes reside. Brotherhood in every star. Soul citizens, here we are. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Starry roads in endless skies. Soul citizens we rise. Charting courses never lost. Together the verses cross.
Hello, hello, greetings and welcome back to the Soul Citizens. I'm GriffinGamingRPG and we are back for another great week of conversation. Hope you guys have been having a wonderful week, and in light of all that's been going on post CitizenCon Direct and the release of update, was it 4.3.2? There's a lot to talk about, and yeah, there's a lot that's gone even this week that we're going to kind of cover. And so hopefully you guys will be able to have a great time with me today. This is going to be another one of those weeks where I mentioned before that from time to time we will be doing a show where we'll kind of allow the community to come in, just like we used to do on Thursdays with Soul Talk and Saturdays with Soul Voices. And this is one of those days, one of those shows where we're going to invite you to come in and chat with me. So if you have Discord, there will be a link that will pop up from time to time that says this is how you can come into the green room. And one by one, I can bring you in. If there's something that you're interested in that we're going to talk about today, then you're more than welcome to join me. And I'm going to mention that again before we get ready to get into the show. But once again, hello to everybody. I see Jade is out there. Hey, Jade, the prisoner is there. Arkraf is there. Oh wow, FC! Thank you so much for the sub, Fast Cart. Thank you so much for 38 months. Let's see who else is out there. Radar Echo, I see you over there on YouTube. Good to see you. Vavrick is here. The Prisoner's on both, but you're covering all the Browns here. He's on YouTube. Pops in Space, good to see you. New Soul Sounds, I think I saw you pass through there. Good to have all of you all here with me today. Sandgroper, sorry about that. Sandgroper, couldn't miss you. You're up there right at the very beginning. And Monarchy, thank you also for being here. 07 Shitucky, you're here too. Great. Right, so we got a good group of folks to start out with. Again, you guys will be more than welcome to come with me on the second part of the show and come in and talk. But as I mentioned before, we're going to do This Week in Star Citizen. I shouldn't say that. Star Citizen this week. That's their title if I say This Week in Star Citizen. We're going to be talking about what has taken place over this past week. Kind of cover that a little bit, and then we're going to jump into our topic for today, which is the board game, Star Citizen, the board game. Hopefully you all know how to play board games. We're going to be talking about that. That's why you have to come in, because I need players to play on the board game. But let's cover what's been happening this week so far. first thing I want to talk about, we didn't cover this last week. When we did CitizenCon Direct, there was so much stuff to cover that CIG had put on the website and, of course, in their presentation. But we did not get a chance to talk about one of the things that they had placed on their website, which was Star Citizen licensed partners. And by the way, if you want to come in on this part 2, you're welcome to come in if you want to come in and chat with me. Matter of fact, you know what? I haven't seen that link pop up. Let me put it in here now. I'm gonna do it manually because I don't know why it hasn't popped up. It should have popped up a long time ago. There was a Twitch alert in Discord. Twitch alert in Discord? Oh, yeah. There should have been one for this. Whenever we go live, we put out, there's an alert that goes out. Anyway, there's the link there if you guys want to come into the green room and chat with me about any of the stuff we're talking about. So yeah, last week, Star Citizen put out this thing about their licensed partners, and some of you guys have known that it's in the Twitch channel, Vaverick, where it pops up at in our channel. If that's what you're talking about, I don't know if that's what you're referring to. Star, you know, I've been having interesting conversations about Star Citizen or CIG Cloud Imperium when it comes to their marketing of products, and as you guys know, the products thing has been kind of a big roller coaster. There are times when there's tons of stuff out there for merch, and there's other times when there aren't that they provide. But they have been working with licensed partners for many years. But this is like the first time I've really seen them kind of do like a push ad for the different companies that they were representing. And so maybe you guys have seen some of this stuff if you hadn't had a chance to see it. But what it said on the page was, we're proud to work with a growing network of trusted partners who bring our universe and ships and experiences to life through high quality, officially licensed products. Each licensee is carefully selected for their craftsmanship, innovation, and commitment to our community. Meet the creators behind everything that from detailed ship models and cockpit gear to immersive control systems and voice packs. Now, some of these companies I know you all have been familiar with. They've been working with HCS, HCS voice packs for quite a while. And we know that they have been doing stuff with JRDF for a while, but they've been building out this, I guess, this licensing branch. And so, you know, there's the aspect of, what was the other thing they've done? They've partnered with Tobii, they've done Monster Tech, they've done, of course, they've done A&D, Intel, all these other ones. But this is like the first time I've seen them like kind of create a page with the vendors on it. And so I'm curious to know if you guys have ever, you know, did you pay attention to that? Are you interested in it? Have you purchased any of these items before? And how do you feel about third-party products? Now, there's a difference when people are making hardware. If you're like Intel, or if you're AMD, or if you're doing Tobii, because obviously those are tech items that could be used in any space. But these are particular to Star Citizen licensing, such as what we see on the screen there, like the ships and things like that. I know there have been some other folks who've been trying to get licensing for card games and all types of other things with Star Citizen. But so far, this is it. I think the other one is, Pigeon. Oh God, I can't think of their name now. And how could I forget their name? They were one of our sponsors for Quantum. Who remembers the name of the company? Pigeon. They did the really big versions of Port Olisar and the real big ship. What's the thing called? The Cataclysm, the Armageddon, whatever the big RSI ship is. They presented them at CitizenCon before. They're another one of their Pigeon. I can't think of their name now. The Retribution. Thank you, Jormung Wrecker. I don't know if that means you're wrecking I'm just teasing. Retribution. Yeah, but the Retribution. Thank you. But anyway, I'm just curious if you guys are interested in any of that type of product or anything. I have yet to buy anything. I've always wanted to get something that was officially licensed, and I don't want to do all the labor behind the JRDF models, JDRF. I don't want to do all the labor. I kind of want mine built, right? But I want something that's nice. Years ago, CIG put out like a die-cast Pigeon Spaceport. Thank you, Radar Echo, Pigeon Spaceport. Thank you. Years ago, CIG put out a die-cast model. I think it's the only one they did of a ship of the Constellation. I think it was the Constellation Mark II. And it was kind of a cute little thing. You know, when it first came out, I want to say it was like $75. Then I think it went up to like $100 or $125, and then it disappeared. So if you're one of those people who happens to still have one of those, you're lucky because we haven't seen them again. But yeah, I'm at the point now where I just want something that it comes in the box and it's like really laid out. I used to do that, Prisoner. I used to paint. I used to get into the whole model thing. Now I'm lazy. Now I just want it to come in, unlock, and say, "Ooh, this is cool," and put it on my collectible shelf. But anyway, that was one of the things that we missed out on last week. I just wanted to kind of highlight that the CIG has a page there highlighting these different licensed groups that are now working with them. The next thing you want to talk about is Alpha 4.3.2, which did launch this week. And it's been, as always, a volatile launching. Some people got in with no problem. The first couple of days, a lot of people were having problems getting into the game. There are still people who still can't get into the game even to this day, or they're having problems with the launcher. They're just having all types of stuff going on. So it's interesting to see that this has been a hassle, right? Because sometimes when something launches on a Wednesday or Thursday, and if it's not fixed by Friday, it goes into the weekend, and people kind of have to suffer through the weekend until the following week. Hopefully, there will be some more people who will be able to get into the game by the beginning of this week. But in the meantime, this 4.3.2, as we mentioned this last week, it introduced some new things, particularly in the areas of salvaging. And CIG is also kind of, I guess, culminating. I don't know if this is the culmination of the narrative storyline that they've been working on with ASD and Onyx and the Doctor. But now it's moved into this new area where they've introduced this new character that nobody's ever heard of before, by the name of Amelia Boyd. And just to read it, it's, when you go to the page, is what it says: "Where we stand. While Amelia Boyd has remained at large, chaos has reigned in Pyro, and with the social-minded citizens for prosperity battling to keep residents safe and the criminally inclined headhunters vying for blood. The frontier fighters took another massive step in their extreme grab for power when they stole an RSI Polaris and combat-focused capital ship from the UEE's Invictus Launch Week Expo earlier this year." Now, I don't know if there's some weird tie into this. I know we've been dealing with this thing with the fight for Pyro and all that. In fact, we're going to talk about that a little bit later, where folks all had to kind of pick a faction in the gang, and then CIG flipped the script on us and made the Citizens for Prosperity, which I was kind of mad about because I actually picked them because I was hoping that they were kind of the cool group. Instead, they ended up being the bad guys. And so CIG is kind of continuing on with this. So we're going to have to see where this goes. The end of the story. Yeah, I said it was the end of the other one. You're right. I'm sorry. The end of the Pyro storyline. Thank you, Psychosis. So we'll have to see where this goes. I'm not sure. I've been kind of, that storyline, I hate to say it was so long ago, I've kind of forgotten some of it. But I've been behind on all these storyline games, basically. I'm still behind. I still haven't gone to Onyx yet. This week, I got to go to Onyx. So anyway, that's something else for you folks to look forward to if you can get into the game and try it out. I know there's been some problems and some bugs that CIG is still working on. So hopefully this week, some of those will get ironed out. And then last but not least, there was sneak peek for this week that was in the newsletter. And it's been really interesting. A lot of times sneak peeks come out and they start a lot of interesting conversation, a lot of theory crafting, a lot of wondering what location is this, what ship is this, what's this armor, whatever. This one, the title of it was The Calm Before the Command, and most people are feeling it's the Perseus, right? The Perseus is kind of knocking at the door as far as one of the next ships that people are excited about getting in the game. But what's interesting has been some of the controversy from this one photo, and maybe you guys have heard some of the concerns. I guess I'll use that word. I won't say controversy. The concerns about this photo. And it has to do with the command chair in the center of the command center or the cockpit. There are people who have some concerns that the seat, which I guess I'm not a Perseus owner. I don't remember what the Perseus brochure looks like or any of the concept art. But my assumption is that seat was more toward the forward. And then there was the two side seats left and right. And when people have looked at this picture, the depth of field gives the impression that center chair is now further back. And so there is some question and concern as to whether or not the Perseus is going to mimic the cockpit layout more of like the Polaris, right? Where you have a command chair and you've got a pilot, co-pilot, versus the other way where the command seat is in the forefront and possibly also the pilot seat. And so therefore they feel that if that's if it's been shipped to a command chair versus a pilot chair, that might be a problem. So I'm curious to know what you all think. If you haven't seen this image, if you haven't, if you click on it on the website, it blows up bigger. I don't own a Perseus. I know my good friend Admiral Kusanagi, who's on vacation. I'm not sure if he's even watching the show. I know he's been excited about the Perseus. So I'm curious as to whether or not he has perceived that as being a command chair versus a piloting chair. I don't know what you guys think about that. What if it is not the Perseus, but another ship with the command module tech that will work in line with the Caterpillar and the Ironclad? Arc Ralph, I think there's nothing that's impossible. It could be something else. I think it's just because of the design feature of that nose. And I'm sure the Perseus fans out there have tried to memorize every inch of the concept art. If that's it, we do know that the Perseus is kind of next in line. But yeah, could it be something else? It always could be. CIG has fooled us before. I remember when the Star Lancers came out, I was thinking maybe it's the whole B. I was thinking a whole bunch of other, knew it was missed because maybe they started some work on the Odyssey and they came out with something completely different that we didn't foresee. Right, the whole Star Lancer series came out. So one thing we do know about those chairs and that structure is that it is RSI. I think that part is confirmed, and the way those panels come out from the side, but there's always possibilities, right? So anyway, like I said, there are some people who've been feeling a certain kind of way about this, and you can go on Reddit, and if you want to see all of the wailing and gnashing of teeth out there, feel free to take a look at it, because Perseus owners have their concerns right now. Do you think that the Perseus will come out for Invictus? Not Invictus, for IAE, or do you think it will come out in Invictus? We know that they've been working on it. Polaris was last year. Could they do the Perseus this year? I don't know. We'll have to see. I'd love to know what you guys think. 07 there, Captain Jones. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay. Well, I think that is it. We are done with this portion. We haven't had anybody who came in to give any thoughts, so I'm going to jump right into the next part of our program, which is our topic for today, which is Star Citizen, the board game. Now you might say, Griff, that's not the way you spell board. Board. Yes, I know. That's because we're spelling board as in boredom. And I want to kind of have a conversation about this idea of boredom in Star Citizen. Now, mind you, for some people, they're not bored with Star Citizen. There are some people who play Star Citizen on some type of regular basis, whether that's weekly or regular is when a patch comes out, or daily. There are people who still find opportunities to find time to play the game and enjoy themselves in some way, or be frustrated in some kind of way, whichever way you want to look at it. But there's been this question that has been, like, we've had this conversation in our Discord a few times, and I've talked to some other people about, will Star Citizen be something that maybe some people will be bored with? In other words, the vision and the idea of what they think a space game will be like, or what they would like to see in a space game like Star Citizen, is it going to be maybe a disappointment? Will it be a situation where, like, I remember Admiral Kusanagi and I were playing a game, and we've been playing this game for a long time, like a long time. And one of the people that was playing with us, there was an opportunity for this person to get a certain device that would allow them to do certain things in the game, right, without the difficulty that existed. And they did that for like 2-3 weeks, just nonstop. Like, they were in there every day. They were doing stuff. And then all of a sudden they stopped playing. And the reason why they stopped playing is because they exhausted everything. Like, they literally went hardcore because of this device that they had. And then when they got there, they realized there was nothing for them. There was nothing left. There was no more challenge. And for them. But mind you, it wasn't that there wasn't any other challenges. It's just the challenge didn't exist because the device they were using could no longer be used, right? And all of a sudden, they stopped playing. Now, Admiral and I continued to play for weeks, months afterwards, still playing it now. But this other person, once they had exhausted it, that was it. And so would say that the difference between Admiral and I's attitude for playing that game is that we kind of know that this game is a long haul game, and we want it to be a long haul game. It's not like we're looking for to reach a certain level, and once we get there, we've peaked. We're actually looking for those challenges to always remain and be in that space for us. And so, and we get days where the game is, we do very well. We get days where we don't do so well, but we're never looking at that space as being, well, I've got everything and I've built everything and my house is here and I've got all my loot. That's a never ending thing for us. And so my question to you all, and again, you guys can come into the chat. I'll put the link back in here again if you want to give me your thoughts as we progress through this. The question is, will Star Citizen, and I won't even say will, I'll even say is Star Citizen a board game? Are people getting bored? And if so, not only why, but what could be done to make it like less boring? But before we do that, I'm going to cover some ground. I'm going to lay some groundwork because I don't want to catch anybody off guard with the topic today, because I know you guys weren't necessarily expecting to drop in with me today. So there's the link. But I want to go over some history before we get into that. So let's do that right now. Let's go to this. Okay. And I'm going to start with the basics, and I'm going to kind of build out over time. And again, if you guys want to come in, just click on the link. Okay, so what we have, or what we have had regarding gameplay, and these are the most common items that we have seen on in the game for those of us who play the game, the mobiGlas, right? These are the things that we know, the different categories that have been added or a part of the game currently, or at some point were in the game. And that's mining, salvaging, medical, bounty hunting, mercenary, investigation, medical beacons. I feel like I'm missing something. I know I am. Oh, no, I'm not. Hauling, collections, and then Wicklow. Wicklow's one of the newest one. Collections is one of the newest one. Most of the other stuff has been in there for quite a while, right? And of course, there's some breakdowns of that now. I know that there's some topics and other stuff like that. But in general, these are the things that have been keeping players and backers engaged and involved in the game for quite a while now, right? This is the stuff that we're all pretty much familiar with. And in most cases, we have found an area that we like doing, whether it's, other stuff, right? But these are the things that are listed in the mobiGlas, right? The stuff that you can kind of click on and take a mission and go, right? No, refueling is not in the list of the mobiGlas fast card. Thank you very much. We're going to get to that in a minute, though. It's coming up, all right? All right, so let's start with that. All right, let's go to the next one here. Now, here's some other offerings that have been there from CIG. We've had offerings such as these, what they call dynamic events. And they're not really dynamic as much as they are like, when I say by dynamic, CIG is trying to create these events that occur because of things that we're doing in the game, right? But they haven't put that tech in completely. So it's more about them just launching it for a period of time to get some testing done and do some stuff. So these are some of the things that we've been familiar with from the past, right? We've had the Nine Tails Lockdown. We've had Xenothreat. We had the Race for Stanton. We had Jumptown. I'm very familiar. In fact, Jumptown was one of the very first ones. And Jumptown used to be in a different category, and I'll talk about the category in a minute. But we have Jumptown, and then we had the Assault on Stanton. Okay, these were those events that CIG would launch. They'd be out for a period of time, and then they would retrieve them and pull them back in. Again, people would engage in these. Some they engaged in more than others. I think probably Jumptown was probably one of the most popular. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I think it was probably one of the most popular. I know it was the oldest of all of them, but I think Jumptown still draws a group of people that enjoy playing that, and they've changed it and modified it over time and done some things. But in general, Jumptown's been another one. All right. Then we get this. We have annual events. Okay, these are the things that are on the annual calendar for Star Citizen that usually last a few days or a week or even up to almost 2 weeks. That includes everything from Alien Week to CitizenCon, to Koramore, Day of the Vara, the Foundation Festival, the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, which is known as IAE next month, Invictus Launch Week, that comes up in May, Luminalia during the holiday season. We get Pirate Week, we get the Red Festival, we get the Ship Showdown, and the Stella Fortuna. Okay. So far, I'm going to go back. So far, we've had the Moby-Glass stuff, right? All the items in there. Then we've had the dynamic events. And then we have the annual events. Okay. All right. Now let's hit one more. And these are the newest things, which CIG calls activities. These are things that happen in the universe and pretty much have been staying out there in the universe. They haven't pulled them in. They've remained in the game and they're optional for us to participate in. And yes, you can pull this from the Moby-Glass as well, some of these. But again, these are particular activities, locations in the game the CIG has built out specifically so that players can go there. And you can go there whether you have a mission or whether you don't have a mission. You can still go do things with these missions. One of the first ones that we got was the contested zones. The contested zones are in Pyro. They're at the space stations, and you guys know about those. They're PvP areas, and for people who have enjoyed that level of gameplay, they've gone in and enjoyed the contested zones because it's loot areas. Definitely had some things to work out with being in there, with accessing the rewards for being in there, right? But there were a lot of people who still enjoy going into contested zones. And again, those are testing grounds at the stations, the 3 stations in Pyro. There was the fight for Pyro that came up where we all of a sudden were kind of not led or forced, but the call was made that we needed to go over to Pyro and start doing some hauling and things of that nature, right? We started bringing those type of things in for a little bit. Then there was Supply or Die, another mission-based thing that we had to do. This one we had to do the supply runs. There was a Line in Mine, which was a part of the Orbital Assault piece. Did I spell assault wrong? I did. God, me and my bad typing. This was the thing over at the Hathor. The Hathor missions. And the Hathor missions were actually, I think, one of the first times I heard people kind of, oh God, I don't want to say this the wrong way. It seemed like people were really kind of enjoying that. I don't know what it was in particular about that one. Maybe it was the sandbox side of it where you could go in and whether you took the mission or not, you could still go in and get some good loot and stuff. And, you know, there's a certain randomness to it, of course, but there's PvE and PvP in those areas, right? So that was another one. Let's see. The Orbital Assault was a part of that. Then we got Stormbreaker. Stormbreaker, of course, was the introduction of the Valakar. And that was the ASD missions, the very first chapter, first part of us doing that. After Stormbreaker came Dark Territory, I think, which is what introduced the Onyx side of things. Yeah, the Onyx side of things. Is that right? Yeah, part of Onyx, right? And then that was 4.3, and then Virtue's Descent 4.3.1, where we introduced to the what's it called? The I forget what the creature's called. In the other part of the lab, the science lab, and then just recently with 4.3.2, we've been introduced to Fractured Frontiers with Amelia Boyd. So I have just brought in my good friend Almost Ova. He is the first person to kind of come in and join the conversation. Almost, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself, buddy?
Good. Glad you were able to stop in and keep me company. What's on your mind?
So the question of the bored citizen, are we referring to like a new player or someone who's had a couple years in the game?
Take your pick. Take your pick. Take your pick.
I think I've been playing this game for coming up on 3 or 4 years now.
Okay.
Can't remember exactly. It might be coming up on 3, maybe 4. I can't remember. But I do like to constantly keep in touch with new players. So I'm a part of some Discords that constantly have a huge pool of new players.
Okay.
Players that have only been playing the game for literally it's their first day all the way up to maybe 4 to 6 months. So from a new player's side, from what I hear from them, because I do question them on all this stuff, what they think about the game and whatnot. A lot of them tend to when they do say they are bored of the game,
Mhm.
is because they don't know what to do.
Mm.
They'll say, "Oh, I went and I did a box mission. I did some mission where I had to kill satellites, and then I wanted to do some hauling, but I didn't have a ship that was good enough to do hauling."
Mhm.
So some of them, believe it or not, have never even heard of Pyro Steel. And I
Mm.
mean, like a couple weeks ago,
Mhm.
somebody told me they had never even heard of Pyro.
Mhm.
So when it comes to new players, I think they're very directionless, and they kind of need to be taken under the wing of alumni.
Yeah.
And then for older players, also I feel like I fit right in the middle. I'm not sure if I qualify as older players, but uh, there's a player that I know of that's been playing for about 3 to 4 years, about the same amount of time as I have,
Mhm.
and he never stepped foot in Pyro.
Hmm.
And he's not the only one like this,
Right.
there are many people who are like this. There's a guy I met who couldn't go to Pyro because his internet wasn't well enough. For whatever reason, he
Mm.
could run around the game no problem, but as soon as he tried to go through the tunnel,
Mhm.
his game would crash or whatever.
Hmm.
So we had to send people, because we were doing a big event. We had to
Mhm.
send people to pick him up
Pick him up and
and
bring him.
drive him through the tunnel. Yeah, he would still crash in the tunnel,
Mhm.
but his body would still be registered inside the ship. So when he logged back in, he's
He'd be
in
on
the
the
ship.
side. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So there's a lot of people who are alumni who still haven't gone to Pyro.
Yeah.
And there's a player who felt like he did enough with the game. He hadn't been to Pyro, but he felt like he's experienced everything the game has to offer.
Mhm.
And he recently got into Pyro, I want to say about a month ago. And
Okay.
he's been there every day since,
Mm.
because he understands that Pyro's a different ball game.
Mhm.
Same game, but it's just different.
Yeah.
Now he's running contested zones. He's doing Stormbreaker event.
Mhm.
He's doing all types of stuff. He hasn't left Pyro.
Mm. Yeah.
So and I was the same way when I first went into Pyro. When I first went into Pyro, I think I didn't leave for like 4 months.
Mhm.
Didn't even coming to Stanton felt so foreign to me. So back onto the whole board thing. If you're bored, you probably haven't gotten to experience some of the things that the game has to offer with somebody who's actively doing stuff. If a single person is bored with the game, then I would recommend that they look for an org or go into one of these new player friendly discords, like the
Mhm.
Star Citizens Discord,
Mhm.
Reddit Discord, whatever it is. And there's people who actively go in there and headhunt for players.
Right.
There's lots of orgs that go in there and they look for new players and try to take them under their wing.
Mhm.
So
Let me ask you a
if
question.
people are bored, go ahead.
Oh, no, here's my question to you. Do you think that I'm asking this question because you said that the people this circle that you've been in have been mostly newer players, right? And I want to take the old folks out of it. Like when I say old, I mean like people who've been around 6 to 10 years. Let's take them out of the loop. Let's say even less than that. Let's say 2 years or more. Let's take them out of the loop. Do you think that new players' perspective of what Star Citizen is affected because of, like, when a trailer goes out or they see a content creator and they don't necessarily have all of the, and I don't want to say this the wrong way, and guys, please don't take this when I sound, because I'm not saying you have to know this. I'm saying that people who have the history behind it have an understanding of the scope. But if I just saw a cool video, like the trailer that just came out, or something like that, and I said, "Ooh, this looks like a really cool space game," do you think that maybe that also sets a limitation that they don't know if Pyro exists, right? They just know what that trailer showed, right? Or maybe if they saw a content creator doing something in the game, but they don't know about contested zones. Do you think that the marketing side of it may also be what limits people's perspective of what the game offers? Or do you think that It's just a matter of they saw, they did the things that they wanted to do, and now they feel like, well, I've done everything, for the new people.
I feel like because the game is just so open, you because you can do what you want. Let's say the sandbox environment, because there is no questing. There is no
right.
You start up. You got to learn to fly. Now they have the tutorial. I still haven't seen other people do it, but I haven't personally done it. You start up. Most people will skip the tutorial. I've seen new players skip the tutorials. You got to figure out how to get to your ship, how to call your ship. Some people are like, "Do I get my ship today? I just got an account. I just got this ship. Do I get it today, or does it take a while to kick in?" So some people have purchased. I seen one where a guy purchased a Titan, but in the tutorial it gave him the little Pisces. So, so really, what I just think it is because, like, okay, so if we go back to streamers, if you watch someone who streams Star Citizen on a consistent basis, you're going to have a pretty good idea. I feel like you're going to have a decent idea of what to come into. You kind of know what to expect. You may not know all the ins and outs and the intricacies, but you kind of know what to expect. But for those people who come from watching somebody huge, I'm not going to name any names.
But what you mean? But one of the big ones.
Streamers,
right?
Yeah. Right. And they tend to hear how terrible the game is, or they don't know what to do. When you come, those players, they're variety streamers. They don't know what they're doing themselves when they come in, and what stuff they're hearing is all hearsay from people who also don't play the game. So those players in general, when they do come in, have generally no clue what to do. Okay. I'll say I recently watched a video where I think about 2-3 days ago, where the guy said he heard nothing but terrible things. He finally decided to get into the game because he was just so curious about it. And he said his first day he kind of did nothing. It was boring. His second day he just so happened upon some guy that started talking about throwing a huge event. He was reading up in Star Citizen's chat, and somebody was looking for help for something. He joined that guy, and then that guy was like, "Yeah, we're doing this huge event tomorrow. There's gonna be 20-some players." And on his second day or third day, he was involved in this huge battle.
Yeah.
So that person's what they think of Star Citizen is going to be vastly different. He got hooked up with the correct people early on, right? Whereas some people, I personally know some people who started playing, hadn't played, or not had played, but they've been playing for 4 months, quote unquote. But they would only spend about an hour or two in game because they didn't know what to do, and then they end up happening upon me or my brother-in-law or one of the people that I hang out within those discords, and all of a sudden the game, it's now they want to be on all day, every day. It really comes down to that. People stepping outside of their comfort zone. Those introverts, actually saying something in chat.
Okay. I appreciate that. I think the video you're talking about, I saw, which was really good because the guy, again, and there have been several people who've said, "Hey, I decided to try Star Citizen," right? And they all kind of start out the same way, where they're struggling a little bit, trying to figure out how to get to where their ship is and take off. But the one thing that just always seems to be the game changer in those videos is when they meet up with someone, and there's someone that takes them, for lack of a better term, by the hand, and takes them to do something else. And I think that curve gets reduced dramatically, because those people do let them know, hey, this is some other things that you can do. I think you mentioned a good point, though, and I never thought about it this way. When you do come into Star Citizen, I guess because when we've been around so long, we're just used to stuff. But I think if you came into this game brand new, you don't know what a Moby Glass is. And if your history of gaming is based around when you come into a game, there's something that prompts you into this is the thing you need to do next. And it kind of reminds me of I'm going to go old on y'all real quick. Pops, I see you're in there, so I'm going to bring you in next. I'm going to go old on you guys real quick. One of the first video games I remember being excited about was a game called Zork. And there was no visuals. It was all just text based. But when you started Zork up, it didn't say anything to you except I forget what it was. It was like a little introduction. It said you're standing in a field, and in front of this thing, there's a house, a mailbox, a tree, and a path, and that's all it said. And the most natural thing that most players did almost was I go down the path or I go to the house. But the main thing to do was to go to the mailbox. And so you would miss out on stuff, right? Tommy Pig said turn around and walk away. There was no hand holding. You didn't know that the mailbox was the important thing to do, or that you didn't even know that the mailbox was something you could do. You were familiar with a path because that made sense, and you're familiar with the house. But to think of that somebody put in a video game that you had to open a mailbox was unfathomable, right? I mean, it was just you just didn't think that way. And so when people come into Star Citizen, if you open your mobiGlas and you see all this stuff, like I think what does trigger in people's head is what should I do first? Not what would I like to do, but what's the first thing I'm supposed to be doing? Because we're all used to a level of progression. And not knowing how, what's that next step to take could probably be a bit overwhelming. But like you said, when people are taken out to do something with somebody else in the game, it does seem to like all of a sudden they enjoy, what's in the game. I'm going to move on because I got Pops waiting in line, but almost thank you for stopping in. I appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for sharing, bro. All right. Let's bring in Pops in space and then we're going to kind of continue on. Hey, Pops, how are you?
Okay.
Good, thanks for waiting.
Oh, no problem. I'm looking at this in two different ways.
Okay.
All right. The boredom part for me was, and I'm going to pick on one ship.
Okay.
The Carrack.
Okay.
When the Carrack was getting ready to come out,
mm-hmm.
and I'm like, man, exploration. This sounded great.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know. I had to look up and see exactly what cartography was. And I'm like, man, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got it.
Mm-hmm.
And you hauled with it, which is not its purpose.
Okay.
And it was frustrating. So it became boring. It was like, oh, hey, I got this ship. It's a
mm-hmm.
gorgeous ship. Is big. It feels like a ship. But no gameplay for it. That's one thing that made the game boring for me.
Mm-hmm.
So can I touch a little bit on the new event?
Sure.
That was
just don't give any spoilers, but yes.
I don't know any spoilers other than
I'm just teasing. Oh, you're talking about the one at CitizenCon. Yeah. Oh no, if you can talk about whatever on the screen, talk about it. Yeah, sure. Talk about it.
Oh, okay. So it looks like from the last event, I'm talking specifically that last event,
the final one,
where the Van Duel ship showed it. To me, that's exciting because it looks like almost every ship is going to have not every ship, but medical drop ships.
Mm-hmm.
Polaris's, Idris's, fighters, everything is going to be involved.
Well, that's what they call combined arms, where there's all the different facets, all the different. It's not just one ship can go in, but you got to bring in all these other elements. That's what you saying you pretty much liked. Was that part of it?
Yeah, I liked it because you can one day you can if you finish the event, you can go. Let's say you can be a gunner in the Idris.
Mm-hmm.
Next day, you can be a fighter pilot flying through the tunnel. You can do different things. You can be in a drop ship. You can be in a medical ship, rescuing people. So that gives layers. Even though it's one event, it gives layers to it. to me that I see.
Mhm.
You know, one of the other things that I was really happy to see that the CIG did that made when the Lazarus, you went and you fought the Valakar.
Mhm.
Now the next step is that you had to go from Pyro to Stanton to the Onyx facility
Mhm.
and the continuation in that storyline. So
Mhm.
we were all sitting in there and we were all talking. We were like, man, I'm man, this has got to go to Nyx whenever Nyx is coming out. And then when Citizen Con came out, they
Mhm.
said it is. So
Mhm.
it, you know, when they put things together like that, which I did not expect them to do, the surprise like that they thought of something that, you know, that far and that deep
Mhm.
in advance as far as the storyline
Mhm.
is concerned, because storylines make, and they, to me, storylines make the excitement.
Yeah. So then
Yeah.
you think that the narrative helps players, you know, in a sandbox, even though it's a sandbox, right? In the next category is going to be talking about sandbox aspects of the game. But you think that the narrative does help players, especially since it's a continuation thing. Do you feel like that kind of breaks the boredom for some people?
Yeah, especially when and you want to get to the end. You want to see what is this thing about? Why is this particular thing? I'm not going to give any spoilers for those
Mhm.
that haven't gone.
Mhm.
What is this particular thing that's in this facility?
Mhm.
What are they doing? Why? What is this? You
Mhm.
know, the doctor. What is his? You know,
Mhm.
I know he kind of gives this little storyline, little kind of thing you can hear in the background of the people, and
Mhm.
you're walking around in the verse, and you're hearing people complaining, and like, you know, my memories are about to, you know, are my memories still going to be intact?
Right.
Who am I? Am I going to still be the same person? And what's going on? Are they just taking my money? And you know, these things bring life to the verse.
So let me ask you this,
It,
Pops.
mm,
This is one event, and let's say you've done the event,
mhm,
right? Let's say you've done all that, right?
mhm,
What keeps people from being bored? Like what makes it so that like you've done it? What does CIG need to
mhm,
do, right? Like, okay, I'm going to use bunkers as a real simple thing, right?
mhm,
Bunkers, people
mhm,
don't go to bunkers all, well, I shouldn't say that. A lot of people go to bunkers because of the looting opportunity. The challenge opportunity, it's there a little bit depending. Like if the game's running really well, there may be people who go there for the challenge aspect of it. Um, but after a while, there's some people that don't do bunkers anymore because it's like been there, done that, right? You know, I can go get loot
right.
someplace else. I can go to Contestant Zone and get even better loot, you know? So what does CIG need
Mhm,
to do to keep things fresh, right? So that they don't get bored, because once you've done ASD, I mean, yeah, okay, you know, the first time I went and did the Valakar thing, it was exciting for me. I had only tried 3 times. On the third time when I finally did it, it was exciting. Do I want to go back? No. I want to go back if somebody else wants to go, right? Like if somebody came in and said, I've never done it before, that's when I would probably go. But I personally, it's kind of like, again, been there, done that, right? So how do you keep the boredom from setting in? Because even though these activity areas like Hathor, like ASD, like Onyx are there, how do we
mhm.
avoid boredom? How do we get away from repetition, right? Where it's like, I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over
No,
again.
yeah, yeah.
Any
Because
ideas on
yeah,
that? What would make it exciting for
they
you? What would keep it
changing
going?
narrative,
Okay.
changing narrative,
Okay.
changing uh randomness.
Okay.
If someone goes in, they do it, and they find something that leads to something else,
Okay.
and it was just random. Maybe there's only 5 of them,
Mm-hmm.
but it's rare. Things like that, things that make people want to go there. Not necessarily, you know, just collecting pieces of armor, which
Mm-hmm.
is okay for, you know, for
Right.
some people and doing it, but things that make things rare, in investigation
Mm-hmm.
type things. Because one of my fears with CIG is exploration.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to give people a reason to go out, stop,
Mm-hmm.
go in, look for a cave other than uh, I don't want to call them, monsters like the Valacar,
Mm-hmm.
Monster Hunter, that type of. You've got to give people a reason where they go in and think. Well, we went in, we had to figure out a formula.
Okay.
Because this went with something else down the line, and keep them on a path. They don't necessarily have to finish it
Mm-hmm.
in a time span, but keep things fresh in their minds. Let them think about what they're doing,
Okay.
and maybe they need to go get help or
Okay.
something like that.
So some of the stuff that they did present at the SitCon Direct is what you're talking about. Some of it was in there, and you're just saying kind of keeping things fresh. Even you think they could reuse the facilities? Like, can ASD become alive again because something else happens there later on? Do you think that if they put something else there, is that something that they could do? Okay.
Exactly. Just how they well, I don't want to spoil it,
but
well,
I got you. Okay, but yeah,
you know about the new creature.
Okay, yeah,
that there, and they could add, because it was as many times as I've gone past that area,
mm-hmm.
and then we went in and we were like, what in the where is that? When did that happen?
Yeah. Okay.
And I think they could do that quite often and change things around.
Okay. Yeah. That's fair. All right, Pops. Thanks for dropping in. Appreciate your thoughts. All righty. All right. Last but not least, we're going to bring in Togi, and then we're going to move on to the next topics. Hey, Togi, how are you?
What up?
Hey, good to hear you, man. I haven't heard that in a long time. It's been like almost a year. It's like, oh my God, it's like a flashback. I haven't heard the what up in so long. So,
the prophecies have come true.
Yeah, I tell you. So
the prophesized return.
So tell me your thoughts. What you thinking about the boredom side of this?
Looking through this list of activities, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many of them are actually different?
Mm-hmm.
Right? A good half of them are just the same missions that we've had sometimes for years.
Mm-hmm. The more variations on a theme.
With a counter in the Moby glass,
mm-hmm.
and a slightly different description, a little video that plays at the beginning and the end.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, that's where I get bored.
Mm-hmm.
You look at this new event, it's just bunker missions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's not a single unique mission
mm-hmm.
in that entire event.
Mm-hmm.
None.
So what would be an example of something that would have changed the boredom, right? I mean, let's say for what it is what it is, but it's repetition. It's a variation on a theme. What are the things that you think, whether it's in the activities area or the dynamic area or the Moby-Glass area, what are some things you think that would kind of help break that?
Hanging fruit, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
We know that in the next event, the next series of the event, from what
mm-hmm.
we played in PTU,
mm-hmm.
they were going to have space combat missions that are a lot, that are based on the ones from the Merc missions that we had a couple of patches ago.
Okay.
Now, when they did those patrol missions,
mm-hmm.
they said that they had set that up to be modular so that they could add new activities, new encounters. That's all they needed to do, was to leverage that technology that they built, supposedly,
mm-hmm.
into creating new encounters that make sense. Have frontier fighters show up to try to attack a ship. Something.
Mm-hmm.
If you're out doing these bunker missions, maybe you get done with the bunker
mm-hmm.
and then you come out and there's 2 frontier fighters ships. It's like, oh, okay, so I not only need to be aware of what I'm doing in the bunkers,
mm-hmm.
but now maybe I have to be aware of what's happening outside, because they'll come by and light me up after the fact.
Yeah.
And change it up a little bit.
See,
but it's not.
Your point is
all recycled.
Yeah, your point is well taken. One of the things I didn't like about this new thing that they introduced was, the thing that they introduced where they said, like, once you kill off all the people, the dropship is going to come in. Remember that? I can't think of what that was with. Like, one of the things I didn't like about that is CIG puts too much predictability in. Like, I don't need to know that is, like, once I shut these off, that the guys are coming. You know what I mean? Because in a way, I know there's a clock ticking. You know what I mean? I'd rather it be, if I shut them off, they might show up, they may not show up. Right? Don't tell me because now I know what the formula is. You know what I mean? I know that if I go there and if I don't turn them off, I ain't got to worry about them. If I do, matter of fact, how about they show up even if I don't turn them off? That brings boredom to me. But the randomness or the variableness or whatever, I wish that they would keep that in. Those are the things that for me, that when I show up at an event, whether I like, not to be funny, because you and I have talked about bunkers before. The fact that I know I can go to a bunker and I know there's 5 guys outside, you know what I mean? That kills it, right? Or 6 guys. I know how many people are outside.
Well, it's 2 guys and it's 2 Copions.
Is it 2? Oh, really? Okay. But my point is the fact that I know what the count is already tells me I know how much ammo I need to bring. I know, you know what I mean? I just know. And so.
And they added all of these new bunkers.
Yeah.
They couldn't, they added a new room. They added the medical room. Mm-hmm. They couldn't add another room.
I haven't seen them yet.
Down there?
I haven't seen them yet. So what is it? It's the same thing, same layout. You mean with the new thing? Oh, yeah, with the new medical area down there. I got you. I thought you were talking about the ASD thing. I got you. Yeah, the bunkers.
No.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, just the bunkers.
Yeah, I got you.
ASD is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Right? because ASD, like, dude, you know how much I was freaking out when that came out. I haven't been that positive about something CIG has done in years.
Yep.
And then they added the 3rd section. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then they added the new thing, and like, it's a fun fight. I won't spoil it for anybody. But it's a cave. They added a cave.
Yeah.
It's one room.
Yeah, and then I think the other thing that bothered me when you mentioned about that, even though I haven't done it yet, but I heard people talking about like I think you heard me say, like, when the worm came out thing, I said, oh, it was just too easy. I felt like it needed to be. I hate to use this term because it's such a term that's just thrown around, but I would have wanted that to be more of an epic event, and not that you have to have 100 people, but it's kind of like, if you're going to go after the worm, you got to bring it, and when I was hearing like, oh, there's 6 people in there and they killed it, I'm like, oh, okay. It took the wind out of it for me. And I didn't feel any anticipation about it. I felt like, oh, I'll get to it when I get to it. Now, if I had somebody came back and said, man, it took us blah, 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 blah to do it and blah, 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 I'd have been like, oh, man, well, maybe I want to go see this thing. But it took all of the wind out of my sail when I heard, oh, well, there were 6 of us in there and we took it out, So I appreciate what you're sharing about that this is just kind of variations on a theme. Different, the skin is different, but the meat and bones are still kind of like the same thing.
Identical.
Yeah.
Like I would want to see some progression someplace.
Yeah.
Like even when the first time that we had this, or was it the Xenothreat one, where we had to like get the codes and the bunkers and stuff? Where did that go?
Where'd that go? Yeah, that was good. Yeah, absolutely.
They could have done something like that.
I hate to say this, but I liked what you said. I mean, I don't hate to say what you're saying. I like what you said. I hate the next part I'm going to say. I like what you said about the randomness, or when you talked about the gang showing up. And I hate the fact that did not happen, because when we got the whole introduction to Pyro, I was looking forward to the whole reputation, like what station I go to or what area of a station I go to, depending on my actions over here, determine how I'm received over here, whether I can buy stuff over here, or whether I'm even allowed to land, when it just kind of.
We're getting the opposite of that now.
Yeah, right.
That new event, they don't even care. You can do both sides.
It doesn't make a difference. That's just crazy. Yeah, it's just crazy. It's crazy. All right. Well, anyway, thank you, Togi. Appreciate you dropping in as always, bro.
Yeah.
All righty. Thanks, man. Where are you at? I don't know where you're at. I'm going to put you up here. Okay. I couldn't put him up in the general area. I don't know where Togi was at. Okay. Let me move on. Hey, Mootkins, good to see you. And congratulations on your event. I got to see pictures. I can't wait to talk to you about it. I know Mootkins was one of the organizers for the CitizenCon Direct event in Utah. And they hooked it up. It looked great. From the pictures of what I saw, it looked great. All right, let's hit this very last category here. And this is what CIG calls Overworld. And we call it Sandbox. These are the more organic things that can happen in game. Fastcart mentioned this earlier, one of the subjects in here. And these are the things that are what people would consider just sandbox stuff, right? Stuff that you can just go do, that the players can generate on their own, or they can just go out and have fun with. So there's racing, there's piracy, There's ship recovery, there's looting, there's refueling, there's exploration, there's trading, and then there are social gatherings. Now, mind you, some of this is mobiGlas based, but this is just the stuff that people who just kind of want to say, hey, we're going to find our own gameplay, or we're going to go out and do something. Of course, you can go refuel at a station if you want to, but there are players out there that if the Starfarer was working, they would tell their friends, hey, bring the Starfarer out here. We want to refuel. But, it's not working, so it doesn't happen. Social gatherings. We know that there have been people who have done events on their 890 jump or their 600i, or they've just done it on whatever ship they have. They'll take a bunch of friends out in the Carrack, and they'll go out and do some things in the game on their own, just for the sake of getting together. We know, folks, looting is always a thing. People always can loot. One of the great things about the Hathor locations is that you could just go down there. You don't have to click on the mobiGlas. And if you feel like doing the routine, you can do some looting. Ship recovery. I remember going out once again with my friend Admiral Kusanagi, and we used to go tow ships that were blocking the New Babbage garage. Back in the day, we tow those ships out of there, and then we go salvage them and go make money doing that. And it was just something we did because we enjoyed it, and it was passing time. Plus, it was helping the community out. It was getting the ships out of the way. Of course, there are people out there who are doing piracy. They don't need a mobiGlas for that. There are people out there who strategically go out and look for people during events or just during general times and will do piracy. And of course, you guys know that racing in our community has become one of the biggest community-led things that takes place for many years now. And many of the organizations have just on their own started that type of thing. So I want to kind of back up before I progress any further and get ready for a commercial. Yeah, I got to take a commercial break. But I'm going to talk about, once again, these are all the areas that we hit on. We opened up talking about what we have or what we have had in gameplay. And I know I haven't covered everything. I'm sure there's something I've forgotten, folks. So just bear with me if I've forgotten something, because to me, there is quite a few things in the game, even though it's not like where we really want it to be. There are the events that we talked about earlier, which were the dynamic events that have taken place. And these are the ones that kind of come and go. Then there were the annual events, the week-long or up to 2 week-long events that take place in the game. I know a lot of this is based around ship sales and stuff, but these are particular times to focus in on certain aspects of the game. And then, as we just finished talking about, there were the activities that have taken place. And these are the things that are intended to be out there all the time, available to us, that you can just do anytime without having to worry about, is it going to go away? Do I have to hurry up and get this done before the end of the month kind of thing? Okay. All right, we're going to come back and talk about some more stuff after that. Oops, sorry, almost forgot. Sandbox, the overworld stuff, the stuff that we as players can go out and generate and do in the game based upon the elements of the game that are in place right now, some of which work, some of which sometimes don't work. But these are the things that we can go out there and do. Okay, let's take a very quick commercial break just for 1 minute. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some other things that are in the game that CIG is expanding on. So hello there. If you are here, I appreciate you being here today with me, and thank you for spending your Sunday evening with me with the Soul Citizens. Hope you all are enjoying the conversation that we're having today, and hope that you will come in and have a conversation. Thank you, Almost. Thank you, Pops. Thank you, Togi, for dropping in. Always appreciate you guys' voices. Haven't heard you guys' voices on the show in a while, so it's very nostalgic to have you back. But let's see, what can I tell you about that's going to be coming up? Next Sunday, we are doing a show called Scary Monsters, because we're coming up to Halloween, right? And we're going to be doing a show, and hopefully the people on the show are going to be, they've been told to use AI to create our own monsters and things that we would like to see in Star Citizen. So it's going to be interesting to see what folks come up with and what they create. So I'm not saying CIG is going to use any of our ideas, but we want to talk about the type of stuff that we would like to see that will definitely give you a jump scare and make you run in Star Citizen. So that'll be next week. All right. Well, welcome back. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Vectrex07, good to see you. Thank you for coming by and hanging out with us today. Appreciate you being here. Danger Hobo, Lord of the Drip, see you out there as well. Let's see. I saw somebody else pop in. There was a name that I saw that I wanted to give a shout out to. I know I yelled at Moodkins. But anyway, thank you guys. Oh, Rastasan, there he is. Thank you. That's what else I want to yell at. My buddy here in my state of Illinois. Good to see you as always, too. Let's continue on. We've talked about those things that the game has had, but there's another thing that CIG has often talked about that they want to introduce into expanding both gameplay in relation to missions, into lore, and you know, every once in a while we see like they're kind of going in that direction, and then all of a sudden it doesn't get implemented. But I think now that we've seen from last week at CitizenCon Direct, the introduction of Nix, I'm curious as to whether or not they will be introducing some of these next elements. And I want to talk with you guys about this. And that's mission givers. And so bear with me here because I have to do this manually because there are quite a few quote unquote mission givers in this game. So one of the questions I want to ask is, one, do you use mission givers? Have you ever used mission givers? Are they something that you actually like, you know, have gone in the game and said, oh, I'm going to go to this thing and go talk to them? Some of you remember back in the day, mission givers were like something that a lot of us used to go to, but I don't ever hear people talking about them anymore. Now, my question is, and I haven't done them in a while, so forgive my ignorance. I don't know if they're even working that well. I mean, I know we get like the Eckhart missions. But I don't know. Are mission givers a thing anymore? Are they dead? I mean, they get moved around and stuff. They disappear out of their seats from time to time. You guys let me know. Somebody let me know. Are mission givers a thing? You can let me know that in chat. You don't have to come in the room and tell me, but I'm just kind of curious as to whether or not they are a thing. Let's see. Outside of Eckhart, they don't work. Yeah, girl in Area 18 doesn't. Hey, well, don't be calling her a girl. Almost. That's Twitch. Get it right. Lord of the Drip. I've never encountered a mission giver. Okay, I think they work about as well as what the the bartenders. Jade. Guilty. I kidnapped Twitch for her outfit. Oh my god. Oh, Jade, come on. You can't be messing with my girl like that. Oh my god. She didn't tell me. Okay. All right. Well, let's go through the mission givers because in a way I'm excited about these. And I'm excited about them. Unlike the Moby Glass, I mean, don't get me wrong, the Moby Glass is one thing, but I'm excited about the possible interaction of what could happen with mission givers because I've played games before where there is a progression with these characters and they do bring a certain level of immersion to them. And especially if you know the lore behind them, because then you kind of know what these people are about. So Clovis is one of the first ones, one of the earliest ones we got when we got Hurston down at Loreville. And so we had some at Grimhex before that, but I kind of want to just kind of focus in on this a little bit. And we're going to go through each one of them. And believe it or not, CIG actually has quite a few mission givers that are listed. And if you guys, by the way, special shout out to SC Tools and the wiki, because that's where I got a lot of this information. Well, you know, the good thing, I mean, you can go to the RSI website and find the stuff, but searching through the website can be a pain. These two tools, you guys make sure you check those two tools out. They're great for finding resources and information. Just make sure that when you go to them, check what date they were updated on. The Galactopedia obviously is good too, but they are still a great resource. So first one I want to talk about is Clovis Darneely. Okay. Clovis, the guy who coughs on you when you walk up to his window, is a clerk at Reclamation and Disposal, Lorville's main salvage yard, with a reputation for being highly educated and a bit of an erudite. It is unclear among his clients why he works on such a remedial position. Clovis Darneely is the owner and clerk of Reclamation and Disposal, a scrap processing plant in Lorville. Players can earn reputation with him by completing his salvage missions. Now, those are the salvage missions. I don't know whether or not you get salvage missions from him now. You used to get these missions back in the day, and originally you used to have to do certain things before he would talk to you too. I don't even know if that's even a thing anymore. But anyway, that's Clovis Darneely. And so if anybody has gone to him recently, let me know. I guess I should have done that before this show. I just didn't even think about that. I needed to see like who's, for lack of a better term, who's working and who isn't working. But anyway, that's Clovis. Let's move on past Clovis and let's go to our next one. And our next one is, let's see, that was Clovis. This is a familiar face to many people here. Constantine Hurston. Typing away at his keyboard all the time. He's a proud member of the Hurston family. Constantine Hurston has pledged himself to helping his family's legacy continue to grow. However, Rather than rely on his name alone, Constantine claims that he prefers to earn any promotions by his own merit. While currently only a junior outsourcing agent, he firmly believes that he will soon prove his worth and quickly rise through the ranks of the Hurston Dynamics. Okay. As you guys know, Hurston, he's in the Central Business District. That's where you find him at. Okay. The prisoner says, I won't work for Hurston. I have in-game morals. Okay. That's fair. Listen, I don't go to Lorville that often unless I have to. I know what you mean. Yeah, you're right, Jay. That's Colossal's best friend. He's probably hanging out with him right now. But anyway, that's constant. And again, these mission givers, you used to be able to get some stuff for them. I remember Constantine worked for a little while, and I know Clovis worked for a little while. And again, I haven't been over there recently, so whether that's the case nowadays, I cannot tell you. Okay. Maybe one of you all can let me know what the deal is. All right. Next up, the one and the only Miles Eckhart. Okay. Eckhart is a veteran of the UEE Army, in case you didn't know that. After his service, he looked for a quieter way to make a living involving his passion for electronics, but after months of studying and interviewing and finally landing a job, he found the work to be boring. A friend of a friend invited Eckhart to work mercenary contracts with him. And he was finding little joy in his current employment. He agreed to an escort operation. Since then, he has remained within the mercenary profession. And as you guys know, you can find Eckhart found at the M&V bar in Lorville. Now, Jade's in here right now, and I want to ask her because Jade's my authority on Nyx. Those of us who remember back in the early days, Miles Eckhart used to be in, was it La Moussaine? Is it? I can't think of it. No, is it La Moussaine? It's not La Moussaine. It's, I can't remember. Well, the restaurant, the bar. Cafe Moussaine. Thank you. Cafe Moussaine. I'm like, okay, I'm going so crazy. Cafe Moussaine. And that's where we had to find Eckhart. And then when they shut down Delamar, when we lost it, right? And we lost that. They moved him to Hurston. I'm really curious to see whether or not he will move back or whether or not he will stay in Hurston. I don't know, Jade, if you all want Eckhart operating out of there with you all. Since he was a veteran of the UEE, may not be happy about that. Corthius, thank you so much for that resub. Thank you so much. I missed that earlier, so please forgive me. And I know that someone just recently subbed or did something over in YouTube, and I'm going to recognize you in a hot minute. Unfortunately, I have to bring up the right screen to do that. Okay. But anyway, that's Eckhart. I don't know if you guys have done the Eckhart missions before. They are interesting and they change from time to time. I shouldn't say that. They're wonky from time to time is more like it. I've done the Eckhart missions a few times with Captain Jones, and usually it's a good time. I usually have a good time when I do it. But it can be wonky sometimes. Sometimes you get the mission keeps popping up and all types of weird stuff. Let's see. What is my thing telling me here? In Disguise. Thank you for that sub. Appreciate you. Thank you. Really, really appreciate you for doing that. And Cody Cooper earlier subscribed too. I forgot to mention that one. So thank you. All right. Let's move away from this one with Eckhart. That's smiling. But you don't want Jay says no, we don't want him. You can stay in Lorville. Stay with the other people of ill repute. All right. Now, let's get into some familiar names here. Wallace Clem. Let's see. I got so many screens open here. Jeez, oh, Pete, give me a second here. I got to scroll down again for these descriptions. Wallace Clem is a drug chemist and dealer who has set up a shop in Grimhex. Wallace is frequently found either under the influence of drugs or completely out cold. He reveals in dialogue that he has had a cat since the age of 14, but on a trip to Crusader, it blew over the railings and was crushed within the center of the gas giant. He was an instructor of chemical engineering at the University of Rhetor, but his employment was terminated for unknown causes. Nowadays, he is one of the top producers of high-end drugs in the Stanton system. So yeah, I think he's probably a little salty about the way he lost his cat. That's pretty it's pretty crazy. But Wallace Clem, Clovis, these mission givers have been around for a long time. I don't ever remember taking any missions from this guy. So I think he was working for a period of time. Does anybody remember if Wallace Clem? I think Wallace Clem was working for a little bit. But he is in Grimhex behind the counter. And but again, I don't know that the mission side of him is operating. Cats don't belong everywhere. They don't belong everywhere. Okay. All right, let's see who is up next here. Let's see, that was Wallace Clem. Ah, of course, cannot pass this one up. Tessia Twitch Pacheco. All right. Tessia Twitch Pacheco is a drug dealer with connections who represents Blackjack Security from her former employer. She could be found in Area 18 on R Corp, where Jade said she ripped off her attire. I can't believe you actually stole her stuff. She came up as a soldier who transitioned into a freelance security work after her service ended. Things were going well until she suffered nerve damage on a job for Blackjack and was fired. Regardless of this, she tries to hide that fact to maintain her reputation as a respected soldier. Left without employment, but with a very specialized set skill, Twitch used her knowledge of the criminal underworld of R Corp to her advantage and began operating her own illegal enterprise. I know these missions used to work. These were pretty good for a period of time. At one point, we used to get, if I'm not mistaken, there used to be a mission where you had to rescue. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. I know there was a drug mission where you had to go and destroy all the drugs and stuff and put it on a cut list and all that. I don't know if that stuff has been gone for a long time. But there was another mission that I think that you used to have to rescue a prisoner. Does anybody remember that on the Caterpillar? Was that a Tessia Pacheco mission? Does anybody remember? Because I remember at one point this was another mission giver that was working. Price of Freedom mission. Is that it, Jade? Okay. It was Tessia's mission? Okay. But that was another mission giver that we had, was Tessia. And unfortunately, you go over there and see her, and yeah, she's just sitting there, which is depressing for me, at least. She's not cooking dinner anymore. All right, next one, Eddie Barr. Now, this is one that maybe a lot of you all did not know was a mission giver. And I don't think Eddie has ever worked. Eddie has never worked, in fact. Eddie Parr is the bartender at Wally's in New Babbage. And in an upcoming patch, he will offer missions to players through the side racket he runs with his old friend, Michael Shaw. We'll talk about Michael a little bit later. Yeah, this is supposed to be kind of like the sneak place when you went to the bar to Wally's. You're supposed to basically go to Eddie Parr. And I guess if he came up to you or you said the right thing to him or you did something, Eddie would kind of give you the latest or some information or some scoop. So there are multiple bartenders back there, but Eddie Parr is the one that's supposed to be the one with the hot tea. But we've never had this particular mission giver work, even though he is behind the bar. This particular mission giver has never worked, unfortunately. Okay. Again, there are a lot of these folks. Ruto. All right, Ruto was also, you know what? I'm trying to remember. And some of you old timers in the room might remember this. One of these people was at Levski. Who was it that was downstairs in Levski? Like down in the subterranean. Was that Ruto or was it the other guy? Was it Wallace? Because one of them was down, you had to go down the stairs, and it looked like you were down in the collapsed area in Levski. It was Wallace. Okay, it was Wallace. Okay. All right, I know one of these drug dealers was down there. All right, so let's talk about Ruto real quick. Ruto is a pseudonym of a non-question asked private contractor with ties to Stanton's pirate gangs, including the Nine Tails. He is one of the best-known info brokers in Stanton. His true identity remains a complete mystery, as he only deals via a video terminal in the back room of Grimhex that spoofs the face of a former Imperator, Kelos Costigan, due to their immense dislike for him. Wow, I did not know that. I didn't know about the whole that wasn't his real name. Ruto manages a vast network of criminal activity, connections, and knowledge for clients such as the Nine Tails. Certain immature quips made by Ruto, however, imply she may not be that old. Interesting. He or she. We don't know because all we're seeing is a hologram, which is interesting. Okay. Just a little thing, give you a little bit of history there. But this is another mission giver that we have in the game. Okay. Let's see what we got next here. I got to change this one more time. One more time. That was Ruto. How come Ruto's not going off? My thing is now. Oh, there it did go off. Okay. Let me change that. All right. The next one up. Rowena Dooley. A very familiar voice for many of us in the game. Rowena Dooley is a special agent working for the advocacy. She also serves as the official attaché to the Civilian Defense Force, the CDF. During the 2951 Xeno threat crisis, she served as the point of contact for the civilian counter operation. And these missions were like the first time where we kind of had that voice that was constantly in the background, kind of telling us what was going on and telling us to get ready to go out and save the world with CDF. And Rowena, I think, will continue to be in the game as a voice that we can look forward to hearing. This mission giver is not somebody that we went to. It's just that once you took the mission in your Mobi-Glass, she would start talking to you and tell you, okay, get ready to get out there and jump into the fight. But there is no physical aspect of her. Not yet. Not yet. You know, she may turn up physically in the game at some point, but as of today, all we get is the voice. Next one up. This was one that you may not be familiar with. Lisa Gibbs. You may have seen her, though. Lisa. Where's my thing for Lisa at? Oh, you know what? I missed somebody. I got to go back one. Did I miss one? I did. Let's see. There's Devin. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll go back one after I get this one. Lisa Gibbs is an officer within the Crusader Security and operates a small auxiliary community outreach office within Orison, formerly known as the Lemonade Stand. Along with partner Devin Bautista, she appears in Squadron 42 and is portrayed by Haley Marie Axe. Missions relating to Security Post Korea are addressed from her, Gibbs, or Devin Bautista. Okay, they're kind of like a team that works together. And just so you can see who that team was, because that's who I think I skipped when I went down too fast. That was Rowena. Okay, hang on a minute. Let me see if I can find Devin Bautista. There's Devin right there. That's Rowena. Where's Devin's thing at? There we go. That's Devin Bautista. He's an officer within the Crusader Security as well, operates in the same small office in Orison called the Lemonade Stand, works with Lisa, and of course, missions that will be related to Security Post Korea will be addressed through them as well. Okay. So they are a team over there at Orison on Crusader. Okay. And then let's see. Now, this is one that we didn't have a picture for, Michael Shaw. Michael Shaw is an adversary of Hurston Dynamics, an advocate for those oppressed by the company. All right, Colossal, if you're listening, here's your enemy. He arranges for goods to bypass security checks. He has connections with Eddie Parr and Wallace Clem. Shaw is not yet in the game. Not yet in the game. Now, it will be interesting to see. You know, CIG has talked about this idea of things being able to be brought in, smuggled in through certain places, and Hurston being a weapons manufacturer, I think would be very, very interesting to see where that pans out. Jade says she thinks that he might be at Levski. That would be interesting, and it's a neutral place for him to operate out of, right? But it'd be really cool if there's some type of missions with, you know, the way Lorville is laid out. You know, when you go into the extended areas, you've got all these different flight hangars and all these other buildings. It would be really cool if we start getting some missions from a mission giver to how to go in and hack and do some things over there and steal stuff from the Hurston family. Yeah, we want to steal from the Hurston family. They can afford it. But we'll see. We'll see whether or not that pans out at some point. It'll be something to look forward to. And let's see. Is that everybody? No, we still have a couple more we have to do. Hang on a second. We got Devin. We did Lisa. Oh, we didn't do. Did I put Luca in here? I think I did. Or I didn't put Luca in here. Oh my God, I missed one. Okay. There's another character called Luca Brunt, who organizes and collects bets at the Grimhex racetrack. I would have sworn that I put Luca in here. You know what? I'm going to blame Paradise for this because he was distracting me today. Paradise, I know you're watching, so I'm blaming you because I was distracted by you. Let me see. Do I have the picture of Luca? Yeah, I do. There. All right. There's Luca. All right. There's Luca. And you can see that's an old picture. So that's from back in the day when we first got Grimhex. Those of you who've been to Grimhex, you know there is actually a racing area. And it's got windows. There's not restaurants. There's a bar, not a bar. Yeah, there's a bar there. There's somebody selling liquor. There's racing information on the walls and all that stuff. And Luca is supposed to be the person that operates out of there taking those bets. Now, unfortunately, we never got that, right? I mean, the location is there, but this particular NPC never got into the game. The idea of collecting bets and stuff there hasn't happened in the game yet. It would be really exciting to see that come to life over at Grimhex. So maybe one day we'll get it, but this is a character that has been set up. Again, these are a lot of mission givers here that are being shown today. And let's see, we did Lisa Gibbs. We talked about Michael Shaw. And then last but not least, one of the oldest, probably the oldest, the very first mission giver that we got in the game, and that was Tessa Bannister. Now, we never saw Tessa back in the day. It's only been recently that we've seen this image of her. All we had of Tessa was a voice. You would leave Port Olisar and you would jump to the ICC station. And as soon as you jumped to it, it was within a certain 15K proximity or something like that. She would start talking to you and call out to you saying, random ship, come in, random ship. And she would give you this message. She would give you this mission. And they were progressive missions. And you do the first one. And after you accomplished the first one, you'd come back to her and she'd give you another one. And the missions also increased with difficulty as you went through them. I don't remember if we got paid. I don't think there was AUEC back then. Maybe there was. I don't know. But these missions were great. And the final mission out of 10 was that you fought the Vandul. So yes, the Vandul have been in the game before. It's not the first time. Yeah, the very first mission that we got fast cart was the distress beacon. You had to fly out. It seems like such a little thing now, but it was such a big deal to fly out into a asteroid field, a location. It was a random area, and it wasn't an asteroid field. It was just an area where there was asteroid pieces. And there was a ship that had been destroyed, and you had to go out and find the black box, right? The distress beacon. And it would be flashing with this red light, and you'd grab it and you would carry it back to your ship. That was a big deal back then. And then they progressed further. They brought you into some combat. You had to do some other things. And eventually you had to rescue a ship that was being attacked. And eventually you had to fight the Vandul. Tessa Bannister is the cartographer working on ISC. Her mission is to scan for anomalies and other unusual events in the Stanton system. She is a mission giver in Alpha Patch 2.6, but didn't appear in person. And then, of course, she was removed when 3.0 came out. So if you weren't around back in that day, you missed out. Every once in a while, you hear people talk about Tessa Bannister. That's it. Now, recently, this image that you see here is her. It looks like she's in that's not a cryo tube. I'm not sure what she's in. But anyway, this is the first time we've got an image of her. Okay. All right. Now, my question to you all is, with these mission givers, do you think that they'll make a difference in the game, in dealing with boredom? Do you think that these mission givers, I'm going to use the model of what was Tessa, where there is a progression of what you can do, will they get to a point where mission givers, you've done it, like it's been there, done that again, right? Like Tessa she had 10 things to do. And most of the time, once you did those 10 things, you went back and started over again. But that was also because there was nothing else to do. There was no reputation involved. There wasn't anything like that. It was the thing to do in the game. Now, mind you, the amount of mission givers we went through today was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did I do everybody? Yeah, 11, 12, 13. There were 13 mission givers, I think, altogether. 13 of them. And I think we've only probably seen like maybe 6 or 7, maybe 8. That's it. So, and only a few of them worked for that matter. Do you think that mission givers will make a difference in the game? again, if you guys want to come in and talk to me about this, you can. I'm going to hit on one other subject as I get in here. Let me put the thingy in here one more time. If you want to come in and chat, you can join me. That's not it. Why do I keep, you know what? I keep clicking on the wrong box. The wrong thing. There we go. All right, there it is. Okay, Togi's here. Let me bring Togi in. Boom. Togi.
What up?
There he is. There he is. There he is. Give me some thoughts on how these mission givers or whatever, what needs to be done so that they don't become, again, been there, done that.
I mean, like with mission givers, like that's their whole opportunity for bespoke content, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like in the past, some of that bespoke content has been pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
The satellite missions that you would get from Clovis Darnley.
Oh yeah, I forgot about those
missions that were in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I forgot about those.
That kind of curated PvP. I need to go get this, then somebody else gets a mission to stop me.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was
good.
Legitimately
mm-hmm.
a fun mission.
Yep.
Right, but
those are gone now, though, right? Are they gone?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're gone, right?
They're super gone.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't even think the space stations are still there.
Oh, okay.
The crashed ones, satellites.
Yeah.
Because that was like a whole version of their planet tech before what we have now.
Yeah.
But they actually have to build out the missions.
Well, do me a favor. Could you explain to people? They may not. There are a lot of people I'm sure who never saw this mission, weren't around back then. Could you just, because you were starting to explain how it worked when you took a mission? Could you tell folks what it was that happened?
Yeah. So you would go to Clovis Darnley, and you would find out that there was this crashed satellite. He wanted you to retrieve a server blade out of it, and when you took that mission, it would create a counter mission. Where someone would be hired to stop you from doing that. And it was super fun. So you'd go out into the middle of Hurston, you'd find this crashed satellite, have to crawl all over it, do a little platforming section, get the server blade, and then take it back to Lorville. While another player was actively trying to stop you. And they had several of these places. The server population was lower, so it was really unlikely that the place was camped, and it was super fun.
Yeah.
Right. And if they can do that, then yes, that'll stop some of the boredom. But at the same time, like if I have to go see Clovis Darnley every time that I want to do a bunker mission, it's going to make it worse, not better.
That's what I'm wondering if, like, I don't know how many. Like I said, even when I went through this list, I was a little surprised because there were a couple of people in here that I didn't even think about that were, as I started doing the list, like, oh, wow, wait a minute, there's quite a few of these jokers, and half of these jokers we've never seen before, And to your point, I think that, like, there's different ways that people can take on, like when I opened up the show, I was showing like some people, they get their stuff from the Moby Glass. Some people get their stuff because it's a dynamic mission. Some people get some stuff because their friends want to do something. And this becomes another way that people can engage in the game. This is why, you need a game company to not only just to do stuff, but you need them to continue to do stuff. Like I would want that if I go to Clovis, that if I get these missions, I don't want to just be, that's like, don't get me wrong, those satellite missions are actually cool because they generate, like if you guys never saw it, Togi's right. There was actually a satellite that crashed and you get down there and it was on fire and there was flames and you had to jump around and you had to get inside the ship. And I don't even remember, it was a satellite, right? And you just had to go inside and there was a panel. Was that right, Togi? There was a panel and you had to get the thing out of it.
You'd open it up and then you'd rip the server blade out, throw it into your inventory.
And get out of there. Right.
And get out of there before
which was infinite. Which was infinite, yeah. But I would also want there to be, based upon, I don't know what it was, but you know what I'm saying? I still want variety. You know what I mean? I don't.
Yeah, there has to be a bunch of content like that.
Yeah,
that's got to be one of many things.
Yeah.
That just Clovis offers.
Yes. And I would want reputation with him. I would want reputation with him too. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like if I didn't do well, like one of the things I didn't like about what was the mission we just did with the different planets, right? When when you had to move the cargo, I can't think of which one it was called, but like if the mission failed, there was no negative to it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't lose points. You know what I mean? It just failed.
Well,
I mean,
that and like a sense of progression.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Right? Like,
I want the progression to go both ways, though, is what I'm saying, right? I want to either have a good reputation with Clovis. Like, if I don't do well, I want something negative. Now, I can't figure out what word, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if I do well with him, I should get progression. But let's say that I did the mission, I failed it, or only brought 50% of the product. You know what I mean? I want something to happen with him. Maybe he gives me a rotten mission first again, like a lower level, to make sure that I can do it again, and then I progress. I don't know if that's making any sense or not. That might be too much.
Yeah,
I'm asking for too much.
Actually, some sense of a loss. You know, not just failure.
Yeah, but loss, right? Something that.
Failed the mission.
Yeah. Right.
Like, but there's so much less. There's no stakes anymore.
That's the word. Thank you. Stakes. That's the word we're looking for. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, you know, and we need, like, just, you know, having that be the first mission that Clovis gives you. And then, you know, because Clovis has already explained that mission to you, any further missions like that, you can just get out of the Moby Glass. You do a couple of those. He's like, hey, you know what? Hey, got this new mission.
Yeah.
Why don't you come down to Reclamation and Disposal? You get the cutscene or whatever, the conversation, and then you get that mission unlocked.
That's nice. I like that. Because on the Moby Glass, they do have the thing with reputation for all those people. So yeah, if you do the first one, which is great because it doesn't bring in the tedium of having to see him every time. And then once you get to a certain level, then you get that mission. Like, you know how like in GTA where you get the phone call, it's like, come see me, you know, maybe that's your signal to let you know, hey, he's got something really the next level ready for you, you know, something like that.
Yeah, you go to take that next mission, and it's not a mission. It's, you know, the mission is to go see him.
Go see him. Right. You go see him. Yep. Yeah, and I like that.
If they can do that, then yeah, great.
I
mean, the issue is, and there's probably a bunch of reasons why we don't get more stuff.
But I would love that progression. If you did, though, what you said, that would be engaging. You know, and again, it doesn't make it like every time something happens, I got to go see Chloe. Like, you know, with the Tessa thing, every time you did something, you had to go see Tessa. And mind you, the universe was smaller, and that was all you had to do. But it would be cool that, like you said, once I've done my first mission with him, now I've got reputation with him. And maybe I've got to do 3, 4, whatever other missions that come in through the Moby. But then once I see that message flash in that says, come see me, now that means I've kind of graduated in my progression with him, you know, and now it's like, oh, cool, I got to go see him, you know, which is kind of cool, you know.
That means, you know, like, I can unlock a new mission. I can
exactly.
Unlock else.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that a lot.
That's what we need. You know, I think that's what we need just in general right now.
Yep.
And, you know, with what they said at SitCon, with them, you know, wanting to refocus on the mission givers, if we get that, great. If that's not what we get, I don't see the point. Yeah,
it's just the same again, all over again. And again, this is why we're having this conversation about what's going to keep us from being bored, because you can understand, even when there's a lot of content, there's going to be a point where people hit the glass ceiling, right? And they've done it. You know, in fact, even the person who decides, say, I want to do everything in the game, at some point, they're going to say, I've done everything. What else is there? You know, and for some of those players, particularly players who may not be more on the, like they've got an org or a group of people that they can go out and do something, or some people are going to go start some stuff. They just want to come in and find something challenging in the universe to do. And it's going to be, you know, what's the word? It's going to be on CIG to make sure they continually do that, you know, keep stuff fresh for the players. Otherwise, people will get bored. You know, they will.
Yeah, and something I said a couple of weeks ago when we were talking, where everything that Star Citizen is and Star Citizen isn't is CIG's fault.
Yeah, it lands on them. Yeah, absolutely. All right, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Okie doke. All right, let me bring in Almost Over. There he is. Almost, you there?
Morning.
Yay, back again.
Oh yeah, first time meeting you. No, so for my thing, as far as like, will the NPCs do something about this boredom thing? I've always kind of looked at NPCs in other games. I haven't played it too many. Like, what is this game called? With the Keanu Reeves as the main character.
Oh, Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Okay. So I haven't played that game, but I've watched a lot of people play it. And I'm assuming Cyberpunk is like this because I've seen very similar games to it, where a mission, contract, quest, whatever you want to call it, is always available. But it's only available if you know where it's at. So like that mission is available for you. If you went straight to that location, you could pick up that mission or contract or whatever. But the thing is, generally in games like side quests, right? You don't know where it's at,
right,
until somebody sends you in that area, and then you could pick up all the quests in those areas. Right. So that's kind of how I've always kind of viewed NPCs. Like they send you to an area, so you know that area now exists, and you can come back there and do those contracts, missions, quests, whatever you want to call them. So I kind of thought that's what they were going to do. I mean, the game isn't out yet, so I can't say, but that's kind of how I always looked at it. Like, oh, they're going to not necessarily give you a full-on direction, but maybe they'll tell you, oh, hey, you can go here at this location, this city in Pyro on this planet, go here. You know how they put the little yellow beacons to where you got to go?
Right.
Go here. But I got to warn you, if you do this for me, then the people there are going to hate your guts, and then they're going to start shooting at you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I always looked at NPCs.
Yeah.
So as far as like the boredom thing, I don't see how NPCs would change it.
Yeah.
The mission givers, like the ones you just listed.
Yeah. Let me give you an example. You just said something that I don't remember. It's got to be an old timer is going to answer this. There was supposedly contention, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, between two of the NPCs. It was either Wallace Clem and Rudo or somebody like that. Does anybody remember what the lore was back in the day? And to your point, if CIG builds out their reputation system that says, like, for example, Togi was saying this earlier, and I think we talked about it before too. When you go into Pyro, the idea of, like, one of the things I like is that I'm with Frontier Fighters, right? So if I go to Headhunters, I'm going to get shot at, right? I'm going to get shot at. These type of missions and deals should also be based around your general reputation in the game. So if your general reputation in the game has been based around doing drug missions and things like that, to me, your opportunities and communications should be somewhat guided toward those sources to get that information. So in other words, if I'm doing piracy or I'm doing some whatever type of missions that are negative, when I come into Stanton, that reputation missions that pop up should be like, there's this guy named Rudo who's looking for, mercenaries, right? So that's one type of thing. If I'm the type of person that fights for good people, then now when I come into Stanton, there's the thing that sends me to that guy who is, taking money from the Hurstons, right? Because he's trying to hurt the Hurstons. If they can build reputation out that way and tie it in, that allows me to say, oh, there's a mission giver here who wants me to do work based around my style of gameplay, then that's cool to me. I don't need to get a message from Rudo if I'm playing as a good person. Now, let's say, for example, though, that I want to do something bad, then to me, there should be both communication in the game, such as sitting at a bar and hearing some talking going on between NPCs, or playing with other players. I might play with you and I'd be like, you know what, man, I've been trying to do some dirty stuff recently. And you might say, well, Griff, go over to the Wally's bar and go talk to this guy. That could be another way to engage it, right? And maybe when I talk to him, he doesn't want to talk to me. Maybe he doesn't want to talk to me. I go over there and all he asks me for is, what do you want for a drink? And he says nothing negative to me about a negative mission. But now I know that, well, in order for me to get this guy to talk to me, I got to go do some dirt. I'm saying hopefully that they can incorporate all of that into that these aren't just standalone things, but that they have their own tie-ins working with each other. that expands even broader into how we play the game. So my actions in the game actually affect how an NPC will respond to me. We know that it'll happen to a certain degree, but I would want it to be in an even broader sense. And to me, if those mission givers can continually be refreshed in progression, you know, CIG said something too. I don't know if you remember this almost. They talked about they want you to be able to do missions so that if you want to do like, let's say a mission has 10 steps. You may only do steps 1, 2, and 3. And if you do 1, 2, and 3, that's satisfying. And if you want to stop at 3, you can. But if you want to go to 4, you can. So that there's always this progression that takes place. Some people will max it out. Some people, like, remember when we were doing the box mission stuff? I said, oh, I only want all the armor for our corp. I'll only go to level 3 on the other planets, right? But the option was there for me if I wanted to go further. So I hope they do mission givers that way so that they don't get limited, that there's always some new story, some new something that they want people to do that's challenging and not just a repeat of something that they've done before, but, you know, bigger and broader in scale. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I understand what you're saying there. Mm-hmm. I understand, mm-hmm. But I also feel like NPCs can be used more to like, because I feel like the people who are going to be going to NPCs a lot are going to be the new player mm-hmm. who doesn't really know what to do. Mm-hmm. And it should kind of like this again. Well, if someone tells you to go to that location, mm-hmm. then you now know that location exists. And now I'm using what I've heard about them saying they want to give like area-based mission giving or what mission giving.
Yeah, like if you right, you go into a location and might trigger and it triggers a mission. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if the girl in area 18, I'm saying that on purpose. She sends you over. She sends you over to a location. Uh-huh. You know, that's only to maybe trigger the, you know, the area-based mission to pop up. Mm-hmm. You know, so that way, you know that there is a mission there for you. Mm-hmm. You know, you can put a pin in that. I'll come back to this after I do my errand for her or whatnot.
Right.
So that's kind of how I view
that's
the
cool.
NPC.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a cool thing. Mm-hmm.
Like a direction, but an optional direction.
An option. Yeah, it becomes an option. I mean, you could, again, that could still also be reputation based. So like, let's say you and I both go over there, and depending on reputation, you get the mission that triggers, I don't. Right? Without even talking to her, just because you're hanging out in that area. Or you get one type of mission and I get an entirely different type of mission because of reputation. Right? I think there's a lot of flexibility, whether I interact with the NPC or, you know, just in where the NPC is at, like you said, just location based. And I think to your point, CIG says they always want to have options for people not have to, you know, they don't want to be so linear that people can choose how far they want to go or whether they want to take something, you know. There's a lot of room for this. And like we were saying earlier with Togi, there's some missions that have come and gone, you know, and it's kind of heartbreaking because sometimes there's something that comes out that's really good and we enjoy it and then it's gone. But we also know, okay, they put it in there to test it, blah, 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 it's gone. Got to wait a while before it comes back and let's see the new version of whatever it is. Jumptown was a classic example of that, where Jumptown has expanded and changed and been refined over the years. But I would like to see what you're saying. I think that's a very cool idea. Okay.
I just thought of something quick.
Yeah, sure.
Just like if based off of what you said, if you go to the same location but you get a different mission, something as simple as those contracts that you pick up to go destroy like all the drugs at a certain bunker. Mm-hmm. Like if I went to that bunker, you know, maybe your Moby just starts immediately speaking to you because you know these people have GPS on you. So they're watching you. They're like, oh, bring those drugs to this location and we'll give you a hefty reward.
Right.
And then you might get one on your Moby glass that said, destroy all these drugs right now.
Right.
UEE does not condone this. You know?
Right.
That'd be cool.
Well, that's
That's all I wanted to
no. But that's what we were getting before, right? Those type of missions that would alert you. It's kind of similar with the the comm arrays. Somebody does something illegal, then people are notified. But I agree, it would be cool that helps generate stuff. I think that part of the problem, well, there's a lot of technical problems with why we don't get those type of gameplay loops right now. But I agree with you 100%. I think that would be exciting. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. All right. Last but not least, we're going to bring in Linz, and then I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next thing. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. I'm not sure where you are in the world, but how the heck are you?
Hello, Griffin, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yeah, it's good to have you. I saw you pop in. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well.
Good.
I'm just listening to the conversation. Like, I wasn't planning on coming in, but then this got me thinking. Some of the questions that I was going to talk about that they just got answered when you were talking to
Okay.
Esme. But here's something. You're the right person to kind of touch upon this. It's like, where is the emotional connect with these mission givers? I do understand this is a multiplayer MMORPG scenario with Star Citizen, and this is not Squadron that we are talking about. However, mission givers, is there any emotional connection? Because if you look at the Onyx facility missions that we have been doing, we are being given missions, but we are being given missions by a voiceover by somebody in our MFD display instead of we talking to somebody physically, right? But that's also the kind of a mission that we've been given. I do not really feel, I don't know, maybe other players do feel connected to like really push towards doing those missions. I don't feel emotionally connected at all. Yeah. Also, the biggest immersion failure for me in the Onyx facility missions is that I do that whole thing once. I do all those 6, 7 missions once, and they're again available for me to do. So why is that Vandal being tortured again and again? So I lose the immersion factor into that. So I don't think that's the side quests or missions being done right. So, and I don't feel the emotional connection. So that's what I want. I want to be connected to the world, like I feel connected to the game. I feel the awe when I am exploring the universe, the verse. I feel emotionally connected even to the jump gate.
Right.
But I do not feel connected to the person I'm doing this mission for.
That's a fair question. To give you an example of something I complained about a couple months ago when we were doing the mission, I keep forgetting what the name of these different missions are. The one where we had to do it for the planets, right? Like you had to do all the cargo hauling for each planet.
Resource drive?
Resource drive, right. What I thought the idea was great, but there was a part of it that I felt was just missing terribly. The incentive for most people was the armor and the weapons. That was the incentive, right? The incentive for me should have been, I need ArcCorp to win because ArcCorp is going to suffer when it comes to regeneration, right? So I would have loved to have seen it so that people who make ArcCorp their base would have been like, we need to get on the stick here because if we don't, every time we regenerate here, I'm trying. I don't know what the impact would have been, but there should have been something negative. Maybe the impact would have been, I have to pay a little bit more to get regenerated, right? Or it takes an extra 30 seconds or something for me to come back in the game. I wanted to feel something that would have motivated me, not armor and weapons. That's, I can buy those off the store. I can loot those. Those conversations of hearing the NPCs talking and complaining in the hospitals, right, about the shortage on regeneration. I needed all of that to come together so that I would have felt like my actions had impact in the universe, right? And so to your point about these other missions, what is the impact in the universe after I've done this? I had this problem when I played EVE online. I shared this story before. I was into mining. And we were the ones that were providing all the resources and materials for ships. But when we got killed, there was no impact. Ship prices didn't go up. You know what I mean? They stayed the same. I needed to feel that when something happened, there was a, cause and effect. And so even with these missions that they're doing right now, we can continue a storyline. The question becomes, how did my actions as a player or our collective actions as a player impact the game, right? And so CIG, and I think Togi said this earlier, the success and failure is going to be upon CIG to come up with those things. Now, mind you, we are still getting things a la carte, right? We're not getting the 7-course meal and some of these things. Some of these things are being put out there for testing, for us to try it out. This is the first time that we've had the narrative team actually seem to take the lead on where these storylines have come. You know, we had Xenothreat and all that other stuff. Why didn't it make it so that when Xenothreat happened, you know, and like say Invictus is going on, why wasn't there like an NPC something that happened, right? That may have been a call from the CDF to go out and fight these ships off to defend the fleet as it was docking at the station, right? Something where I would have felt like I'm connected, you know. You got the recruitment stations there. You've got these, you know, and it's all just props, right? But nothing to make me feel like I'm engaged and I'm involved. Why wasn't there NPC there when I signed up for the UEE thing when I came in? I know that's stuff that could happen in the future, but I think that because so many things are a la carte, some things we may feel more connected to. I agree with you. Like when you say you go through a jump point, you feel something about that, even though we know what it is. And but there's something about doing it that makes us feel a certain thing when we're going into Pyro. I mean, even the music and the scoring affects us in some way, right? When we go in there, right? But then there are those other things that go back to just feeling kind of generic, you know, and just feel like.
It's also, we all remember our first jump. We all remember our first time being on Port Hollister. So those locations are moving us.
Yeah.
But exactly to the point, but we have a message from YouTube there. Is there an example of to being connected to a quest giver in an MMO? I don't know about MMO. Would you call Witcher 3 was a single player game, but the Baron's Quest was very moving. A lot of the side quests in Witcher 3, very, very well done. A lot of the missions in Cyberpunk are very moving. Like a very simple mission just at the start where you pay tribute to Jackie at his wake. That was extremely moving, disturbing, and it's all just a talk mission. That is, in my book, a mission done right. GMTK on YouTube, Game Maker's Toolkit, does really good video game essays, and there was a video episode about how do designers do effective side quests or a nice way of doing your fetch quests. And they can CIG, well, I'm not going to criticize the game. I love the game. This game needs to be successful, otherwise this will be a shattering of millions of dreams, and we don't want that. So this is just a beautiful discussion that I'm trying to have, not definitely not criticizing. But if I personally wanted to, you know, have an impact from a mission giver, which was the question you asked us viewers today, that you know, this was the question of will these mission givers help us? Well, they can do it in certain different ways, because I'm just trying to be thinking of from my own subjective perspective, is that there can be missions, you know, on different planets, like which can help us explore the lore of those planets. There can be mission on Lorville, which explain us the downtrodden side of things, the gutter side of things, which, you know, you work for somebody very small and just do a fetch quest for them, but by doing exposition you get to understand the history of Lorville. The same can be on Crusader, Arcob, Microtech. There can be quests for UEE by doing certain missions, like finding the wreck of Javelin, that you discover the history of Javelin. That will definitely move me, make me educated instead of going to Astrobub and learning about it. There can be missions given to me to understand certain game mechanics. I think those I can emotionally connect with. But what we have right now is like very atmospheric Onyx facility missions. We have very, very cool locations, but those are rinse and repeat missions. I did Hathor once and never felt I wanted to go there again. I've killed Velakar a few times. I don't feel like doing it ever again. And so it's just some feedback that to answer your question, will these mission givers help me? If they are not fetch quest, yes. If they are not tied to game items, like it's like Viclo recipes, yes, they will. If they are not rinse and repeat, yes, they will. Like, just my personal opinion.
So before you go, and I appreciate that, and there's nothing wrong with critiquing, right? There's nothing wrong with critiquing, because, like as you mentioned, we want them to make the best game possible, right? And so
Absolutely.
I think the
this is
community's
a
voice is
very
important. Mm-hmm.
and Soul Citizens is a very nice place to critique. So,
Oh, well, thank you. We try. We
thank
try.
you for having me on.
So let me ask you, these are the things that you see on the screen right now. You should see them in a couple seconds here. These are the other things that CIG has talked about. And in the midst of the list of everything that we've gone through today, we've talked about dynamic stuff, we've talked about activities, we've talked about the mobiGlas, we've talked about mission givers, we've talked about the annual events that take place, and then we've talked about those things that just take place from a sandbox perspective. Do you think that when CIG continues to build out these things, I mean, my bad spelling with vendors there, do you think that, is it about having more stuff to do, or is it something bigger? Because can people still become bored even if all of these items are in the game? What's going to keep boredom from setting in? What's going to keep people, in your perspective, wanting to come back?
I can speak for myself that progression, as you had talked to Toby, I think,
Togi,
when he was talking, progression and stakes are very big motivators to keep the boredom away.
Okay.
Armor, items, when you personally, again, if they are the stakes for me, like, okay, you have armor vendors, you have weapon vendors, and you get better weapon, you get better, but you can get to the meta. But what after the meta? You get the best there is in that class, and what is there to motivate me to get anything better than that? So it works to a certain degree, but after that, that will definitely get repetitive. Looking at cartography, that will definitely depend upon the scale of what we end up with, right? If there's nothing to cartograph, that's not going to motivate. Cooking, engineering, I got one game which everybody loves with cooking and crafting is Legend of Zelda. But I got bored after a while just cooking and sitting on my station. Valheim does that really, really better. Enshrouded does that really, really well. So I don't know. It depends how CIG implements it.
Yeah.
Farming, I personally love farming. Farming simulator fan here. So maybe that will keep me engaged. So again, personal, very, very personal takes on those.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question before you go any further. I want to ask you a question. One of the things that I hear players, some players, not everyone, complain about, all these things that we're mentioning, one of the things that you hear a complaint about is this idea, because you mentioned about reaching the meta, right, is time sync. There are people who feel that CIG is just putting in stuff to do time syncs, but progression is often tied to that in some way. And this is outside of the grind. One of the things I've always said about ships is that ships are the means to progress. They are not the end, not by any means. You can, in this game, for me, ships are a means for me to do other things. That's all they're there for. So the idea of the Endeavor is not, oh, I've got the Endeavor, I've done everything. No, it's just the means for me to do more, do something else. So how do you feel about, like, again, and I think your points are well made, because you said that it's going to be that progression side of it. You talked about the stakes side of it, which I agree 100% on. I think that when I mentioned about time sync, that there's also loss with stakes, right? How do we get to that place where it's just continue? I don't want to put all this weight on you, but I'm just asking because I'm going to close the show out. What do you?
Griffin, I talk a lot. You need to stop me from talking.
That's okay. Well, you were going to say something about base building, and I know base building has been a big topic for folks ever since SidCon last year. Yeah. So what were you going to say about that, and then I'll wrap it up. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. That's a beautiful one. And just to answer JJ, the guest is from Australia. The guest is not German. Okay. Now, also at that stage, I think Jade was here. I want to also say hello to Jade. You don't know Griffin, but I've been watching for a long, long time. So
well, thank you.
It's the first time I'm talking to you.
Yeah, good to have you on.
Thank you very much for.
Yeah, Togi, if you want to come back, I saw you pop in, Togi. If you want to say something before I close out, I'll give you a couple seconds. Go ahead, Linz. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. So what I was going to say about that is, like, yes, base building, ship, very big motivators. I, sir, have bought an Aurora in 2018, upgraded that to Avenger Titan, upgraded that to Nomad, and that's where I stay.
Nice.
That's all I've spent in the game.
Nice.
That's all I've done. but of course, then I did buy a Zeus, but that's it. And earning ships in game is a huge motivating factor for me. I love it. It's absolutely definitely a big motivator. Base building will definitely be a very, very big motivator. What they have done with Wicklow, however, is I'm not a big fan of that. It's a very glorified way of creating an RNG loot box. That to a certain degree I will be okay with, but what they're doing now, because all the new ships, they are not available in the stores inside the game. You have to get them from Wicklow. And yes, we wanted different skins. Yes, I definitely wanted more liveries, but the way they're being thrown at in the game, it's like not a fan of that.
Me either.
That's what I'll say. It's
Me either.
way too much. Exactly. It's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lose their value. What is the point of all these armors when you just we have to get you a fizz from this place? I have to get you scorpion horns. It doesn't make any logical sense to me.
Yeah.
Again, emotional disconnect. So
my thing is they're beating the horse too much. What bothers me, not to be funny, when I walk into his emporium, that's the stuff I'm interested in, right? I mean, there's so much stuff in there, and it's been limited to less than 10% of what he has in his store, and that's the only thing that bothers me. It's like, if people want to go after ships, God bless them, but listen, there's a nice samurai sword over there I'd like to get. Some other things in there I would like to be able to get, right? The katanas,
It is beautiful.
That's my thing.
They've done 50% right, but then the initial installation was. This is one facet of CIG where the tier 0 implementation was amazing, and the more it's growing, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. So Nicola should have just stayed at tier 0.
Yeah,
and that's hey Jade.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, and one thing that it's not in the list here, in which Citizen Joel is saying mining, salvage.
Yes. Well, we mentioned those earlier. Those were at the beginning. That's why you don't see them here. So those are this is all about future gameplay. I know in the future we can expand on that even further, because they talked about factory building. They talked about a whole lot of things, right? But this was kind of like the culmination of my question, was that even if we add all this, how do we still fight boredom? And I think you've eloquently mentioned, and I think Togi's mentioned it, I think a lot of people have, that idea of progression, stakes, reputation, keeping it fresh with new ideas, right? And I think Lefty said something that's important. Lefty, good to see you. Lefty said it's also the community too. How much we interact with each other in the game and in the universe. Jade mentioned about those people who want to live in the universe. How will they interact? All of these things I think are necessary. Not any one of them is the fix. I think we're going to need all of it in order to keep the game going.
People like you, people who are doing these discussions, these conversations, I will even put Salty Mike in there, because I agree with most of what he says. Space Tomato community is a huge factor. Yes, it's a social game, massive multiplayer, but it's for me it's very social. Just a tangent, but I was brought here by Jade she invited me a while back to come and watch one of the streams, and I got hooked, and I just listen if I'm available. We're not playing the game right now, but we are talking about the games. The engagement is 100% there. So yes, sir.
Okay.
I agree with you on that. It's how the community interacts with the game, and how CIG nurtures their community is also extremely important.
Absolutely.
Which is a little bit lacking at this stage. It's just like they're giving way too many ships to too many people to do giveaways. That's not nurturing. I think that it can be done in better ways. I like the competitions.
Yeah.
I like the machinima competitions. I like the art competitions, which I have won many. I said I have these few ships, but I have a lot of ships. I won a lot of contests.
Yeah.
But I like earning those ships. That's also my gameplay.
Gotcha. Well, Linz, thank you so much for coming by. Really appreciate you being here. Nice to know that you've been watching for a while. And you guys, Fast Card, if you can, give a shout out to Linz. You all make sure you all check out Linz's work. Amazing, beautiful machinima work. One of the other people who's just done awesome work in our community and a big supporter of just the whole machinima community here. Thank you again. I really appreciate you sharing your thoughts with us today. Okay.
Thank you so much, Griffin.
Take care, buddy.
Appreciate it.
All right. All right. Last but not least, Togi. I am over time. I want to get him in because I told him I'd get him in. Togi, you there?
You can make this quick, I swear. All right. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead. I thought I was going to be short on time, so you're okay. Go ahead.
All right. So as much as all this future gameplay is cool, it's meaningless if we get everything piecemeal.
Okay.
Right? Like if we're still getting 2 to 3 hours of content a month, there's 730 hours in a month. What are we doing with the other 727 hours? You know, they have to start bringing things out in bigger packets.
Okay.
Like I you know, when we saw SitCon, I was really upset that we're getting not Nyx, we're getting an asteroid belt. That's it. Like, I don't see the point.
So
like, we need to progress past that.
I hear your perspective. I'm not against it. There's a part of me that says, yes, I agree with you 100%. How do we combat the idea of people who want something, though, that want content? I mean, I don't know how to satisfy. It's like there's this one side that says just get everything done as best as possible and let's get it. And then there's the other people who want every little scratch and ounce and piecemeal, you know what I mean, of any level of progression. Even if that progression is something that doesn't even work in the game, they're looking for that. And if they don't get anything, they feel like they're not getting anything for their time and money that they've invested. And I can understand that side too. So I don't know what is the solution. You know, what is the equitable solution? And maybe you can't satisfy both sides. You know, maybe I don't know what that middle ground is that would make people feel like they're getting something of substance that's working. And like when CIG said, for example, we're not going to put out any ships unless there's gameplay. People were like, oh, that's great. You know, some people were like, fine, you know, don't put out my ship until there's gameplay. And then there were other people who like, well, what does that mean? Does that mean I got to wait 5 years for my ship that I paid for? You know, I don't know what that answer is. And maybe I'm not saying that you do. I'm just saying, I don't know how do we balance that out, you know, because there's some people who want every little bit. And there are other people who are like, hey, don't bother us until it's ready. You know, I don't know what the answer is for that.
I mean, and that's like the fundamental question of building a game around people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
like,
that is, but that's the contract, though.
No good solution to it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, you know, to me, it's like building a house. What good is a house if it doesn't have the roof?
Yeah.
Right. You don't start moving in furniture.
Yeah.
Until you have the roof. And my biggest concern is all this stuff might be kind of cool now, but when we hit 1.0, it's going to feel like a number change, and that's it.
Yeah, unless you come in at 1.0, yeah, you'll be done expended. Feel like you've expended everything.
Like, yeah, like, oh yeah, I've already done everything. I just need to do everything again because there's a wipe.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Like,
I don't know.
have to hold on to those cards.
Yeah, I hear you. Listen,
see them. There's nothing they can do in Nyx.
Yeah,
that they can't do in Stanton, that they can't do in Pyro.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, they could implement those things in just the Stanton system and build it out that way. And then when it's time to go, boom.
Yeah, if they have some narrative reason that they want to go to Nyx, well then, hey, the story continues in 1.0.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. Yeah. Okay.
Know, like it's.
Go ahead.
Just the way it's where I'm at.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah. Do we need the other systems in order to flesh out the mechanics and tech that just needs to be dropped later on? That's a good question. I don't know. It's a good question. All right. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you dropping in. Okay. All righty. All right, gang. Woo, good questions, good conversations, good thoughts shared. Thank you for everybody who dropped in. That's I don't know what the answers are. I wish I did have answers, but all I know is that we're still on this journey. You know, we're still trying to push through it. Let's go ahead and move forward. I really do appreciate everybody who has come in and shared with us tonight. We are going to be doing next week a show called Scary Monsters. And for those of you who weren't here earlier, we're going to be doing a show that those who are on, we're going to be bringing some AI created nightmares. Things that we would like to see Star Citizen to consider. This is just going to be more of a fun show, our own little theory crafting of what type of scary things we would like to see CIG put in. Don't get me wrong, the cows are okay, the Copians are okay, the Maroks are okay, but some of us want to see some stuff out there that's, yeah. Now, is it going to be scientifically great, these creatures, as far as evolution goes? I don't know. I mean, will it be some jelly blob? I don't know. But next week, we want to just kind of have some fun with some AI stuff. We're going to be doing some AI things. It's not going to be any crayon drawn stuff, y'all, just so you'll know. It'll be some stuff that we put a little effort into to create. And we're going to talk about some things that we would like to see. So hopefully you guys can join us next week. And maybe you guys will even have some stuff that you all can come up with. And maybe you can send it to us in our Discord and we'll show it on screen or something like that. It would be kind of cool. You want the classic gelatinous cube, okay? Yeah, we could kind of have something like that. The blob, right? We'll have something like that. But anyway, that's going to be for next week. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us for that. Guys and gals and ladies and everybody who's out there, you all can join us next week for the show. Let's get ready to raid. I'm trying to find my cursor. I can't even find it. I saw who you sent me, but I'm going to detour a little bit today and go to TV Liquid because he hit us up really good a few weeks ago and we have not rated him in a little while. So I'm going to send you guys over with TV Liquid. So when you get over there with TV, give him a shout. Let him know you came over from Soul Citizens, man with the red hat. Thank you again for everybody who came and joined in and joined the board game tonight. You guys, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, everybody who's been following, supporting. We really appreciate you for everything that you guys do. Don't forget to join us next week for our show, Scary Monsters. And until then, as we always tell you, stay safe, take care of yourselves. And as always, peace, love, and soul. See you later. Ciao.